Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Ignition Time. In this episode, we're going to explore some new details about the $10,200 unemployment tax break. Not only has new information emerged from the IRS about who can file, who cannot file, but there are new guidelines about whether married couples should be filing jointly or should actually file separately to get a bigger tax break. Welcome to this episode of Ignition Time, everyone. This right here is a little bit of information about me. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. My name is Dr. Chhoda. Welcome to this episode of Ignition Time, where we cover important matters pertaining to the country, the economy, as well as your money. Let's get started. Let's start with an interesting article on your screen that was published by Bloomberg. You'll get a link to the article in the description section below. The unemployment rate is 2.9% in South Dakota. This actually shows you how uneven the recovery is throughout the country. Now remember, the unemployment rate across the country was just around 3% before the pandemic hit, and then it went as high as 10%, even greater than 15% in some states at the height of the pandemic. The fact that the unemployment rate is down to pre-pandemic levels is just unbelievable and good for South Dakota. But again, it shows you how uneven this economic recovery is. In fact, take a look at this chart on your screen that shows you how the labor markets diverge across the country. The unemployment rate in 10 states is below 4% and in 6 states is above 8%. So the job market is thriving in nearly a dozen states, including South Dakota and Utah. And at the same time, high unemployment is persisting in Hawaii and New York. The unemployment rate in February was less than 4% in 10 states, but double that or more than 8% in 7 other states, including the District of Columbia, according to brand new data that was released by the Department of Labor. The national unemployment rate, in case you're wondering, is 6.2%. Again, let's show you this chart on your screen and you'll see that some states are doing significantly better than others. Now, let's shift gears to the $10,200 unemployment tax break. On your screen, you'll see this article from the Wall Street Journal, an unexpected $10,200 unemployment tax break, what to know. You'll get a link to this article in the description section below. So the first question is, what's in this new provision? The new provision exempts up to $10,200 in unemployment benefits from federal taxes for the year 2020. This does not apply to unemployment payments in 2021, so keep that in mind. Now, this exemption is per recipient. So a married couple who each, let's say both the spouses got $10,200 in unemployment benefits would get an exemption of up to $20,400 in unemployment benefits. Now, there is an income limit. If your adjusted gross income for the couple was less than $150,000, then you would be able to have this exemption. But if the adjusted gross income is greater than $150,000, then this exemption does not apply. Now, this $150,000 limit applies to all types of returns, whether you're a single filer, head of household, married filing jointly, or married filing separately. So keep that in mind. The second question, what do you do if you have not yet filed your 2020 taxes? Well, the IRS posted some guidelines. Let's show you the IRS guidelines on your screen, and we'll provide you with a link to these guidelines in the description section below. So basically, they provided a worksheet on how to claim the exemption for unemployment payments in 2020. Now, here's something interesting. There was a change, there was an amendment from the IRS about how to claim this exemption. The new update is that $150,000 does not and should not include unemployment pay. So the IRS has actually updated the guideline, because if you received unemployment benefits in 2020, those unemployment benefits will not count and should not count towards the $150,000 annual limit. As a result of this amendment from the IRS, more people will now qualify for the $10,200 unemployment tax break. Now, the next question is, what if you've already filed your 2020 return? Should you amend it? The good news is no, you don't need to amend it. According to new guidelines from the IRS, they do not want you to file 2020 returns, and they issued brand new guidance that was actually dated the 24th of March, a couple of days ago. They said they will announce more details as quickly as possible, and they said they hope to refigure the taxes using the new unemployment tax break and automatically send out refunds, if applicable, directly to filers. So this is good news. Now, the next question, and this has been coming up a lot from our viewers and subscribers in the comment section: should I switch my filing status? Now, what's interesting is the structure of the tax break. It's the same income limit of $150,000 regardless of your filing status. Could mean that some married couples who typically file jointly may actually save by filing separately this year. This was actually explained in detail in another CNBC article that I'll get to in just a second, and I'll provide you with a link to the article in the description section below. So I encourage you to do your own research, and check out those articles before you do something as significant as changing your filing status. Here's an example from the Wall Street Journal. Let's say a couple had $200,000 of income for 2020, and each spouse had unemployment payments of $10,000. Now, in case you're wondering, how is that possible? Well, it's possible that both the spouses went on unemployment, but they had other supplemental sources of income. Maybe they got rental income, maybe they made a bunch of money in stocks. They had income coming in from other sources, but not from their job, which is why they were able to claim unemployment. I know the whole thing's kind of ironic, a couple making $200,000 on unemployment, but that does happen in our country. Some would argue only in the United States of America. But let's get back to this. So if a couple had $200,000 of income for 2020 and each spouse had unemployment payments of, let's just say, $10,000, their joint income in this case would make them ineligible for the new tax break. But if each earned less than $150,000 and they filed separately, in this example, now in this scenario, some couples may also find themselves eligible if they make less than $150,000, depending on how much each spouse makes. They might also become eligible for the $1,400 stimulus checks, because the stimulus checks phase out at $75,000 and they phase out completely at $80,000. So let's say you had the original example of the married couple that originally filed jointly and made $200,000, but let's say one spouse made 70 and the other spouse made 130 in this example. The spouse making 70 would not only be able to get the unemployment benefit tax exemption, but could also get a $1,400 stimulus check, because the phase out of the third stimulus check, the $1,400 stimulus check, begins at $75,000 in adjusted gross income for an individual filer filing as a single filer. So changing the filing status, and again, this is in the Wall Street Journal, this isn't any shenanigans, this isn't something that you're not supposed to do. Changing the filing status is a technicality that could result in more married couples, and each case is different. So you will need to crunch these numbers yourself. It's probably best if you talk to an accountant, and also check out the articles in the description section below. But it is possible that a married couple that originally filed jointly can now essentially get bigger tax exemptions and even stimulus checks by filing separately for 2020 if they have not filed their returns already. This entire scenario involving married couples was explained in more detail in this excellent CNBC article that you see on your screen, $10,200 unemployment tax break. Here's when married couples should file separate returns. So you definitely want to check out this article. We will provide you a link to this article in the description section below. Here's an interesting quote from Oscar Ortiz, who was quoted in the CNBC article. He's a certified public accountant and financial planner based in Tampa. For the most part, it makes sense to file jointly from a purely tax perspective. The numbers are such that you get a little break, but I always run the numbers and see. So definitely talk to an accountant, run the numbers and decide for yourself. And I want our viewers and subscribers to know that I understand what you all are going through. I know that individuals in travel, leisure, entertainment and hospitality have lost their jobs permanently. Here's a chart on your screen with the long-term unemployment trends. The fact that long-term unemployment is increasing. 41.5% of unemployed workers have been out of a job for at least 6 months, approaching the historical peak. Take a look at this chart on your screen and you'll see the gray section on the right side of your screen, which shows you how horrific the unemployment crisis has been in terms of permanent unemployment, individuals who've been unemployed for several months. During the year 2020, 40 million of our fellow Americans were on unemployment at one point or another. And for our viewers and subscribers who were among these 40 million individuals on unemployment and who are married, this unemployment tax break and whether you should file jointly or as a single filer makes a big difference. I hope this video gave you a good starting point about what to do. Please check out the links in the description section below. Do your own research and do what is best for you. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. Right here, once again, is a little bit of information about me. You'll learn more about who I am, what my journey has been like, and why you should listen to me. I really appreciate you watching. I hope this channel is valuable and beneficial for you. All I ask of you is take a second of your time to please click the like button. Please subscribe. Please enable notifications. That would mean a lot to me. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next episode of Ignition Time. Take care. Bye.